Hey guys, today we are going to be focusing on adding and subtracting fractions that have unlike denominators in the form of word problems. So in terms of the actual math, we have to make sure that the denominators can be converted to the same denominator before adding or subtracting the numerator to get our final result. And then adding in the factor of word problems, we have to identify whether or not we're adding or subtracting without the problem saying plus or minus in it. So let's get started with our first example. We have a marine biologist measured one fish that was 3/4 of a foot long and a second fish that was 5/8 of a foot long. How much longer was the first fish? So I'm gonna start annotating here. So right off the bat, let's identify the numbers we're working with. We have 3/4, 5/8. So we know on the context of this video that we have to add or subtract those numbers. So let's think how we decide if we'll be adding or subtracting. We're asked how much longer was the first fish. So when we're asked something like how much longer or any sort of comparison, we want to know the difference between those two values. And if we're looking for the difference between two values, that means we're going to be using subtraction. So far we have the number, we have the two numbers we're going to use, and we know we're going to be subtracting. So let's jump right into that. So how much longer was the first fish? So we know that the first fish was longer based on the problem asking how much longer was the first fish, and we want to subtract 5/8. So what we want to do here is make the denominators the same. So we do that by multiplying the first term, 3/4, by 2/2. And we can do this because 2 divided by 2 is just 1. So we're not changing this value at all. We're merely making it into the same scale as the other term so that we can have that 8 in the denominator to make subtraction a bit easier on ourselves. So continuing that, we have 2 times 3, that's going to be 6 in our numerator, and 2 times 4 for our denominator is going to be 8. Take away 5/8. And now we just have to worry about subtraction. So remember, with fractions, when you're adding or subtracting with like denominators, you can leave the denominator alone and just worry about the numerator. So we have 8 in the denominator for the solution, and the numerator is just 6 minus 5. So 6 take away 5, we are left with 1/8. So the first fish was 1/8 of a foot longer, and that is our final answer. All right, so for our second problem, we're told the zoo has 2 elephants. The male elephant weighs 1/2 of a ton, and the female elephant weighs 1/4 of a ton. How much more does the male weigh than the female? All right, so this is kind of similar to the other problem. Let's identify the two numbers we're given. We're given 1/2 and 1/4. And now we should look for our keywords that tell us whether or not we'll be adding or subtracting those values. So this actually has the same keyword as the other one. How much more? So this is another comparison. We want to find the difference. A comparison implies that in wanting to find the difference, we need to subtract the numbers. So jumping right into it, we have 1/2, and we decided that this was subtraction, so 1/2 minus 1/4. Let's see what that equals. So in this case, we can see that the denominators do not equal each other right off the bat, so what can we do to make them equal each other? Let's try multiplying this first term by 2/2 so that the denominator will be 4 and the overall value of the fraction will remain unchanged. So 2 times 1 is 2, and then 2 times 2 in the denominator is 4 minus 1/4. And for that, our final answer will be over 4, because fractions, addition and subtraction, the denominator stays the same. And then our numerator is just 2 minus 1, which is 1. So that was straightforward enough. Let's move on to the next problem. All right. Hoping to be named salesperson of the month, Anna called the names from 1/6 of a page of the phone book last week. This week, she called the people listed on another 2/3 of a page of the same phone book. How many pages worth of people did Anna call in all? All right, so let's see what the important parts of this question is. So let's find our numbers. We've got 1/6 and 2/3. Now, should we add or subtract those numbers? Let's read into this a little bit closer. So the final question, how many pages worth of people did Anna call in all? We're not being asked for a difference here, but we do have a keyword all. Addition is the sum of two numbers. And if you want to get the total value of something, you have to add up all the parts of that. So we definitely don't want to subtract here. This keyword all is telling us that we should add. So let's go ahead and do that. We have 1/6 plus 2/3. Let's find out what that equals to. So how can we make these two numbers have the same denominator? 1/6 will stay the same, and let's multiply 2/3 by 2/2. We're doing this because the 2 in the denominator there multiplied by the 3 in the denominator will get us a denominator of 6, which will allow us to add the numerators of the fraction straight across. So 1/6 stays the same, and now we have 2 times 2 for our numerator and 3 times 2 for our denominator, which is 6. And now we can just add right across. So 5 will be our numerator because that is 1 plus 4, and then our denominator will remain 6. So we will have 5/6 of a page. Not quite sure what's happening there with my pen that Anna called. Moving forward, we have another example. Of the houses in John's neighborhood, 7 out of 12 are yellow and another 1 out of 4 are purple. What fraction of the houses are either yellow or purple? All right, so let's look at the numbers. Let's pull out those numbers. We've got 7 out of 12 and 1 out of 4. So what keyword tells us if we are adding or subtracting? So either is going to be our big word here. When we see the word either, that implies that either yellow or purple is acceptable as an answer. So you can add them together to find out of all the houses which are yellow and purple. We don't know what the other colors are, but we'll find out what percentage are either yellow or purple and what percentage are not either yellow or purple. So either implies, in this context, addition. So 7/12 plus 1/4, let's find what that equals to. So the denominators do not equal each other. So how do we manage that? How can we make 12 and 4 equal to each other? Or not make them equal to each other, but adjust our fractions so that they have the same denominator. Let's keep 7/12 the same. And if you recall, 4 times 3 is 12. So we will multiply this 1/4 by 3/3 so that this denominator right here is 12. So continuing on, we have 7/12, and now let's add multiplying the numerator. 1 times 3 is 3, and then the denominator, 4 times 3 is 12. And now that we have a like denominator that stays constant at the solution, and we just have to add straight across. So 7 plus 3 is just 10. So we know that 10 out of the 12 houses are either yellow or purple. So what this implies is that there are 2 out of 12 houses that are not yellow or purple. If you were asked a follow-up question on this specific word problem. I got that just by knowing if 12 out of 12 is equal to 1, representing the whole neighborhood, then, and so there's 12 houses, 10 out of those are either yellow or purple, so the remaining 2, i.e. 12 minus 10, 2 equals 2, have to be not yellow or purple. All right, I think this is our last problem today. Judith filled a bucket with 7/8 of a gallon of water. A few minutes later, she realized only 3/4 of a gallon of water remained. How much water had leaked out of the bucket? All right, so we've got 7/8 and 3/4. So she has this bucket that she filled pretty high up. And our keywords here is a few minutes later, she realized only 3/4 of a gallon of water remained. So this implies that water was lost, as is our word leaked. So we want to find how much leaked, and we can do that by finding the difference between the two values given. That is the difference between what she filled and what is left. So she filled it 7/8 of the way, and then only 3/4 was left. So we can use, do we have an eraser? Sorry about that. And only 3/4 was left. So let's find out what that is. So 8 and 4 are not like denominators, so let's keep doing what we've been doing up to this point. Let's keep 7/8, and we should know that 4 times 2 is 8, so we'll multiply 3/4 by 2/2. And that'll get us 3 times 2 in the denominator, which is 6. 4 times 2 in the denominator, which is 8. We can keep the denominator the same for our final solution, and we just have to look at 7 minus 6, which is 1. So we know that 1/8 of a gallon leaked out of that bucket. So I hope that this helped clear up on how to add and subtract fractions that have unlike denominators when they're in word problems. Good luck.